It is another interesting episode. And I remain your convener, Kike Atanda. And of course, I have Damilola on the platform today. How are you doing, Dami?
You blew me away. You bright, always, you clad in bright colors, and it makes me feel like, what's wrong now? Good afternoon, everybody, from everywhere you're watching us from. It is another exciting day to showcase our beautiful, beautiful, intelligent show, the RTWK show. Yes, the Real Talk with Kike show. We're here again doing it real, and this time we're going to Qatar 2022 to see the highlights, to see the lowlights, to see who has won, to see who is winning, to see who's gone home, and of course, the hope of football for the African nations.
Fantastic.
Please stay with us. We are here, and we have just started.
Fantastic. So let's just go to our On This Day in History segment. A prominent monarch from the black race and of course the Yoruba tribe was born today in history. And I like the fact that history is actually reminding us of what took place. How many years ago? I think this happened
42 years ago.
42
he was
years
crowned
ago,
today.
1980. I think, guys, it's important for us to just, hear more on this monarch segment. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
The 6th of December, 1980, Oba Olumide Sijuade was crowned in a ceremony attended by the Emir of Kano, Oba of Benin, Amaya Noba of Opogbo, and Olu of Warri, as well as by representatives of the Queen of England. Alayeluwa Oba Okunade Sijuade, or Sijuade, 1st January 1930 to 28th of July 2015, was the 50th traditional ruler or Oni of Ife from 1980 to his death in 2015, taking the regional name Olubuse II. Ife is a traditional Yoruba state based in the town of Ife in Osun State, Nigeria.
All right, many thanks for staying with us. Let me come to you, Damilola. Quickly, what's your take on this day in this segment?
Well, I like tradition. I'm very big on tradition. I'm traditionally inclined, and I like the fact that this is reminding us about 42 years ago when the Olubuse II, late Oba Okunade Sijuade, was crowned at the age of 50. He was 50 years old when he was crowned as king, and I know that in 1980, when he came, when he ascended the throne, he inherited some ongoing rifts of about over supremacy between some Obas of the Yoruba land, and the dispute, well, eventually calmed down when Osun State was carved out of Oyo State, and that was in August 1991. I also know that during his lifetime, he was concerned with politics, and he was saddled with the responsibility, and he was also he was very concerned about the Yoruba socio-cultural group Afenifere and the Yoruba Council of Elders, alleging them of partisanship, and we saw that he made moves. He also attended some social cultural group meetings in New York, in England, and some other places. I also know that during his lifetime, he conferred some politicians with chieftaincy titles. Some politicians like former Governor Ikedi Ohakim of Imo State. We had late Otumba Lawakala of Oyo State, Babangida Aliyu of Niger State. And as at the time of his death, I knew that there were also some speculations about the time he actually died, which controversies was initially reported that he died in July 2015, July 28, 2015, and that was refuted by some of the Royal Traditional Council of Ile-Ife, which at the end of the day, he was announced officially dead on the 12th of August, same year, 2015. So, but history records that he actually died on the 28th of July, 2015. And we saw his life and times. We saw the way he tried to unite the Yoruba race within his own capacity. And this is what history has recorded of him. Of course, what will history record about you and I?
All right, many thanks for that elaborate submission on this day in history segment. I think with all you've shared, I think it's important for me to now, concentrate on his lifestyle. He was a classy Yoruba king with a royal swags. Today when I see some of the kings, especially from this side of town, I feel that, he actually led that during his time. He was known for his collection of Rolls Royce and the likes with a royal personality. And I feel that I like the fact that, you know, on this segment, you know, history keeps reminding us of our character. I keep emphasizing on the power of character, because one of those, my past mentors or people who have shaped me to be who I am today in terms of entrepreneurship and in terms of human character, that's late Dr. Masborough, has always emphasized on that. And I like the fact that, you know, on this platform, you know, this day in history segment is something that we all need to actually, quite a number of people actually look forward to it, because they engage me on it. Sometimes, even after the phone call, you know, I receive calls that say, no, you mix the dates up and all of that. I'm glad that at least this segment actually touches lives. And Ife is a traditional state based in Ife, in Osun State, and I just hope that the other monarchs, you know, will actually use this as a wake-up call to actually think of how to impact the world, regardless of how you want to even be flamboyant and all of that. When it comes to your community, I think it's key for you to understand that you have a lot of work to do. On this note, I think it's important for us to go on a quick message and get a word from our sponsors, because without my sponsors,
we'll not be here.
Many thanks. Stay with us. All right, many thanks for staying with us. Even despite Nigeria not registering our presence, yes, at the World Cup, her and my fellow Nigerians have been glued to the FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022. Though mine is by proxy, because my man in the early, I have no choice but to watch with him. But guys, FIFA World Cup Qatar 2022, watching the favorite African teams and of course the individual sporting idols from different countries have been one of the things that have been on the lips of quite a number of people. And of course, the FIFA World Cup group stage was both, you know, heartbreaking and of course historical for Africans. 5 representatives in Qatar with records shattered, performances of remarkable, quality and no other shortcut of controversy. And I feel that Africa has never, yes, I emphasize that, never before, you know, registered more than these 3 group stage victories in a single World Cup. So the continent's 7 wins, like I said, during round 1 in Qatar is quite remarkable. And I like the fact that, you know, Senegal, Tunisia, Morocco, Ghana, and Cameroon are the 5 representatives from Africa in the tournament. And as it stands, that Morocco is the only African team left in the tournament. And guys, on the show today, I didn't have any choice but to bring you guys the right person that will help to, you know, answer quite a number of questions. We will be discussing the biggest sporting event on the planet today with also that is ongoing at the moment, and we'll be talking about, you know, the look at the presence, of course, the present performance, and of course the progress of African teams at the FIFA World Cup tournament. And it will give us quite a number of, you know, different views when it comes to, you know, the African soil itself. And I think the person I'm talking about right now is no other than, you know, our own veteran sport journalist. Is the special advisor to the former Minister of Youth and Sport. I think before I mention it, let's get a quick look at his profile. Stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, many thanks for staying with us. Let me use this opportunity to quickly welcome to the show Dr. Michelle Obi. It's a pleasure to have you on the live platform today via Zoom link. Many thanks for agreeing to be on the show today. How are you doing today, sir? On the Arabian soil, let's start from there. Can you hear me? All right, I think we are having technical issues right now. Maybe we might have to reestablish the
Can you
connection.
hear me clearly now?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear now. I can hear you now, sir. So let's just go straight to the topic at hand. You are live on the Arabian soil, taking a direct feel of the FIFA World Cup at the moment. I want us to please, fill us in at the quarter-final stage of the tournament. I mean, many teams, gone home with the big boys left in the competition. What is the atmosphere like thus far? And maybe you can also use this opportunity to also, tell us about the fans, the supporters, and Qatar itself at the moment when it comes to them cashing out. I like the revenue aspect of this tournament. What's your take on this?
Yeah, let me thank you for this opportunity. It's still a brilliant day here in Doha, and the push now is towards the Education City Stadium, where Morocco, the last surviving African team, is going to play the game of their lives. Indeed, if they get to win, it will be the first time Morocco will be reaching the last 8 of this competition. And they have everything going for them. They've proved the point. They topped their group, just like Nigeria did in 1994. And today, everyone is expecting Morocco. They have the support not only of Africa, they have the support of the hosts and even the Arab fans. They are all backing Morocco. They are the only surviving team, not only for Africa, but also carrying the hopes of the Arab world into this competition. But then it's been a competition which has been very, very open. And I can tell you that the African champions, Senegal, left this morning for Dakar. And before they left, they had a message from one of Africa's outstanding players, the African Player of the Year, who didn't take part in this competition, Sadio Mane. Indeed, he told them that they've provided a balm to their hearts and that their journey in Qatar has been worthwhile, and they defended the national flag with dignity and pride. And so they can look ahead to more trophies and more competition, and I wish them well. And that is the Senegalese team that really didn't live up to our expectation. We expected so much against England. It was a case of 2 lions, the 3 lions and the lions of Teranga. Inevitably, as some would say, 3 lions had an edge over the lion. And so Senegal are home. The other African teams left. Cameroon has joy in their hearts. They beat Brazil, and you watched Brazil yesterday. Brazil were just playing samba on the pitch, celebrating every goal and showing that they also have love for the one who made football worthwhile, even at the age of 17. Talking about Pele, who is in the hospital. They say he's in a stable condition. And the prayer for Brazilians is that Pele should be alive for Brazil to win the World Cup in Qatar. Can they do it? That's a question very difficult to answer. If you ask me, I will not advise you to put a bet, because this World Cup in Qatar, it's too close to call, even though it's open to all still in the contest. But let's come back to the numbers. Africa, for the first time, as you rightly said, had 5 teams, with all of the 5 teams having their national team coaches, which is indeed very unique. No foreign coach for Africa this time. And they managed to get to the second round, the round of 16. And you have 2 who survived. Senegal was kicked out. Now you have Morocco, the Atlas Lions, another Lions. Indeed, we have 3 Lions from Africa, the Teranga Lions, the Atlas Lions, Morocco, and of course the Cameroon Indomitable Lions. The rest are Eagles. You have Eagle of Tunisia. They really try to hold their own, but then you know what, and then you have the Eagles, Carthage Eagles of Tunisia, and of course you are looking at other teams in the competition. The Arab world is out host. They were the first to go. Japan and South Korea flying the Asian flag collapsed. Indeed, for Japan, it was a painful exit by penalties. It's like with their high-tech football, they didn't get to learn how to kick penalties. 3 of their penalties were stopped by the goalkeeper, which was really very disturbing that they lost their nerves for in a game in which they were in control and the Croatians came back. And so you have Brazil taking on Croatia for the quarterfinals. Before then, you have Argentina from South America taking on the Dutch side, the nearly men of the World Cup. That's a match that will really show whether Holland can go far. Recall that the Holland or the Dutch side, when they came to Africa, in South Africa in 2010, they reached the final, but they lost to Spain. And Spain is the team that will be taking on Morocco. Will they even get to the final this time or even cross this hurdle that will start in just 2 hours' time? By 6 o'clock Qatari time or Doha time, and that's your 4 o'clock in Nigeria, that game will kick off. It's the last of the round of 16 matches. And then, of course, what do I look at? The numbers. The first round matches provided the highest attendance in the World Cup so far. Indeed, they've had over 2.5 million fans in the stadium, higher than what we had in Russia, where we had 2.17. Of course, the most watched match in America was the match between America and United States and England. It was the most watched match, and it took the crowd in the stadium for them to have a record attendance. Of course, the competition is still on, and for Nigerians, they are here in style. They are here as volunteers. Many of the Nigerians you see here as volunteers, they came with a large contingent of volunteers. And I was with the Nigerian ambassador yesterday. He was excited that they've conducted themselves so well. And then, of course, we've had Nigerian stars who have come to really give what we have. Indeed, every stadium now in Qatar is looking like a dance party hall in Nigeria.
A
with Nigerian sound.
A nightclub.
Transmitting the excitement.
Only yesterday, I joined them in dancing on Rema's countdown. And of course, we've had the Buga King come to the FIFA Festival Fans Village. Yes, and Patoranking. They've all been to the FIFA Fan Village. That is where music is king. But this music flows all around the stadium. Qatar has been good. In terms of organization, I can give them 90%, and I'm very stingy.
Fantastic.
But,
That's beautiful.
Good one.
Yes, and they've made nonsense of all the pre-event critique, especially from Europe. They talked about Qatar, not a small country, but they have shot above their weight, and they've proved one thing, that you can use sports to fast-track development. Indeed, they've kept faith with the Sustainable Development Goals, and their strategic plan delves up to 2030, and that tells us that sports or big events like the World Cup can be used to change a country. Definitely, Qatar has changed the country. Tourism is a toast because there are places to visit. Nightlife is here very good. Indeed, everybody, you can be awake till morning.
Dr. Obi, let me interject.
Okay.
Thank you very much for that elaborate submission. It's quite insightful for us that are back here in Nigeria. At least we have a first-hand information of what's happening on ground in Qatar. But I'd like to ask you, since the inception of this of the match, of the FIFA World Cup match, what has been your major highlight points that you could describe to us back home? As I know that there are a lot of lions in the competition, there are a lot of eagles, like you said. Even if the Super Eagle is sitting back home, I know that our Music Eagle, like you also said, our Music Eagles have been there to dazzle and perform a whole lot. So what would you say has been your highlight, major highlight since the inception of this match?
As president of African Sports Journalists, I came here with a simple agenda. I wanted to see African teams go far and even possibly get to where it matters, winning the World Cup. But that dream, I've dared to dream, but that dream is gradually dying. But they say dreams die hard. And I'm hoping that Morocco can give me another joy. Indeed, my highlight moment was the match against Belgium. the team that finished as finished third in the last World Cup in Russia. They were beaten completely in style by the Belgium team. For me, that day, I had to do even my own salsa. You know, I like the salsa dance. I had to do my salsa inside the stadium, and it was a victory to behold. And of course, you want to look at the goal. The goal, Vincent Abubakar, a lion in his winter, scored against Brazil. He scored it at a time when Brazil didn't even have the energy or the impetus to equalize. And not only that, I will say that the buoyancy of the finish, the header itself against a world-class goalkeeper, and then he removed his shirt. He forgot even that he had a yellow card. He removed his first shirt and got a red card. I was happy to have a red card. Have you seen a player being happy to have a red card?
That was
incredible. He was excited to have a red card. And of course, Cameroon won that match. But today, the story in Qatar is a disturbing one. The president of Cameroon Football Federation was captured in camera hitting at an Algerian YouTuber who, I don't know the story. You know, Cameroon beat Algeria to come to qualify for this World Cup. And so this YouTuber was trolling, or is it trailing, or trying to have a picture of him or something after the game Brazil played. And Samuel Eto'o Fields, one of, indeed, Africa's most decorated player, lost his cool and couldn't manage his temperament. Went at this young man with, even Bruce Lee will be excited with what Samuel Eto'o did.
Many thanks, Dr. Obi, for your assessment on African teams, and of course with the records that have been broken thus far. You know, I wish I can actually talk about the 7 points from their own group matches, because I know that Morocco became or becomes only the 4th African team after Cameroon in 1982, which was based on the research that I made, and of course Morocco too in 1986, and Senegal in 2002 to be precise. So to go through the opening round defeated and the likes, and your assessment thus far, can I help but ask that, you know, Cameroon is the is the only African team to ever beat Brazil at the FIFA World Cup, you know, FIFA World Cup tournament, and a feat no other African team has done at the World Cup today. I would like to hear your own views on, you know, underrating Brazil, or will I say African teams are becoming more dogged, so to speak, or confident of their own capacity when it comes to football today.
Yes, thank you. I like your historical drift. Sometimes it's good for those who really want to look back and see exactly how we can move forward. Cameroon, they have an enviable World Cup pedigree. Indeed, in 1982, when they played their first World Cup, they didn't lose a game. They even lost to the eventual winners, Italy. That's how Cameroon has been. Of course, the famous victory inside San Siro Stadium in Italy, when they beat a defending champion, Argentina, can't be easily forgotten. Just like Senegal's victory over France in 2002 cannot be forgotten. And that's why many people thought Senegal will go far, beyond the fact that they are African champions. Of course, African players are all plying their trade in Europe and some of the best clubs in the world. So there is really no complex. And that's why we thought the Lions made a strategic, a tactical blunder by thinking they could go skill for skill, talent, tactics for tactics against England, because they believe they know the English players so well. They've played with them. They can really take them on. And that cost them, especially in the defense. We saw that game, first 30 minutes, Senegal had, they had it sewn up, but then when the English decided to attack, there was plenty of space for them to use. And so African players, what I think is that they need to change their mindset. The mindset when they come as a team, getting to quarterfinal or semi-final shouldn't be something we should over-celebrate. They should be thinking now of winning the World Cup. 90 years of the World Cup, it's time for us to start thinking we have to get our hands around it. Pele is gone. Pele said an African team will win the World Cup during this time. I wonder whether that African team will be Morocco, now that he's still in his fading moments. Let's let's see what happens today against Spain. If they get to cross that hurdle against Spain, perhaps we can start counting our blessings. But then it's easy to believe that these players have been exposed. They enjoy the same kind of facilities, and of course their mentality is a bit adjusted. But when they come as a team, there shouldn't be any complex, and that's why African teams look at the Japanese, what they call high-tech football. They come in the second half and they change the game. And they've beaten the biggest names in football, Germany, Spain, name them. Of course, they went out penalties. A penalty, they say it's like a lottery, can go anywhere. Against Croatia, who were runners-up in the World Cup in 2018. If they had beaten that, what would you have said? And Japan, of course, lost to Costa Rica. Can you beat that? So it's the game is very open, but we can always talk beyond the game and see what we as Nigerians can learn from Qatar hosting. Yeah.
All right. Many thanks for your submission thus far. We'll go on a quick break to get a message from our sponsors. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. All right, glad to know you're still with us. In case you just joined the show, today's conversation is about the FIFA World Cup in Qatar. And of course, we are having real talk around the spring events and of course the display of African teams at the tournament that we have corresponding with our veteran sport journalist and the publisher of Master Sport, Dr. Michelle Obi. Many thanks again for all you've shared thus far. Let me quickly use this opportunity to open our phone lines. Remember, you can be part of this conversation by calling the studio number 08098877400 showing on your screen right now. And of course, we are streaming live on Silverbed platform and Real Talk with Kike platform. You know, sir, we appreciate if you can just be brief with some of our questions right now because I'm trying to manage time. You know, I would like to ask you what would have changed if Nigeria had been at the tournament, and what lessons are there for us to learn by not qualifying? That's the first question. I think the second question quickly is the fact that we are still having the big stars on the pitch with the likes of Neymar, Ronaldo, Messi, and others. How is the individual talents and stars playing out with the team coordination thus far? What's your take on these two questions?
Yeah, thank you. Let me start with Nigeria. If we had been in this World Cup, it would have been a different kettle of fish entirely. I don't know whether we have gone far given the makeup of our team, but in terms of benefits, Nigeria will have had good returns to manage our game, if nothing else to put into our domestic game, or even the players who will have made it to the World Cup, they will have had good money to play with. Getting into this second round will have given them at least $30 million. That is not easy money. Beyond that, the corporate world itself will have galvanized to support Nigeria. Imagine what value they will have added by giving opportunities to different levels of stakeholders who will want to use football as a vehicle, not only to communicate their messages or services, but also to get our country at a time when we are preparing for election. A visit to Qatar will have provided a good opportunity for the national team to help ginger the elements of our unification and help us to forge as a nation. Football can do all of that. Indeed, it's more than a vehicle for just having joy. It's a vehicle for peace, for development, for even finding the right kind of values to sell to a nation. And our president, of course, will have been here at least to rest and relax, just like we have the president of Liberia who was here. How many days, holidays, almost 25 days, Liberians started to complain. But he was here to back his son, interestingly and ironically, playing for America. Can you imagine his son playing for America, the president of a country having his son playing for America, and he's here supporting him?
Many thanks.
Of course, your second question,
yes.
The stars are here. Some of the stars have gone also. Lewandowski, you know him. He was a Ballon d'Or winner, FIFA best player. Poland lost it, and he's home. He's gone home, and you have to give it to the stars like Messi coming back from that defeat to Saudi Arabia, and now Messi is playing the kind of football that you can only see on a player who knows that tomorrow will be farewell. And then Kylian Mbappe, the one who scored the goal as a youngster in the World Cup, he scored in the final of the World Cup as a young player. He's here. He's something else. Indeed, Mbappe, he is a phenomenon, a different level of player. And then Ronaldo, there is a debate in Portugal now whether he should even start today's game against the Red Crosses of Switzerland. But he scored one goal, controversial goal, penalty against Ghana, and then trying to claim a goal where he said his head touched the ball, or he's in the breeze from his body, touched the ball. But that's Ronaldo. But the stars make the competition tick because the crowd, especially if you are a neutral, you want to come to the stadium to see the stars. And so the stars have not disappointed. Neymar came back after the injury and scored a goal. He saw his cheeky penalty yesterday. So the stars are glittering, but then there are new stars also emerging. And I think that's what the World Cup throws up. So far, Mbappe is leading goal in terms of goal scoring. There is Richarlison. He scored a wonder goal in the first game Brazil played. He scored again yesterday. And he has not even scored for his club in the league, in the Premier League. Talking about Tottenham, Richarlison. Yet he's scoring some super goals here. And then Perisic, Croatia, there are some stars who are coming up. And we've seen some stars also gone. Some stars who have gone in the group stages. The Japanese, of course, even Saudi Arabia. You cannot take it away from some of their coach, Hervé Renard, who handled the team that won the Nations Cup. In short, 2 countries he handled in Africa to win the Nations Cup, and then coming to Qatar to beat Argentina. Those are some of the high points and some of the things to take around.
Dr. Obi, thank you for that analysis. I would like to ask you, in all sincerity, sir, looking at the host countries since 1930, when the FIFA World Cup officially kicked off, I know that Brazil has hosted twice. We have Switzerland, Sweden, Chile, some countries, Uruguay, and some other countries. Do you think that Nigeria can ever make this list? And what will be the what are the steps we need to take if Nigeria will be a hosting country to the FIFA World Cup?
When we put together the Vision 2020 master plan for sports, our thinking was that by the year 2020, Nigeria should not only be in a place to host the World Cup and host it well. Nigeria should also be in a place to win the World Cup and win it well, and also win 5 gold medals in Olympics. And then if possibly start looking at being the first African country to. Don't forget that we tried to put a bid for the Commonwealth Games in 2014, which we wanted to use to celebrate 100 years of Nigeria as a nation, you know, when Lord Lugard brought us together, North, East, and North and West and all that. So hosting the World Cup, we've hosted the other World Cup. So what is left is just the Senior World Cup. And South Africa, that's why some of us are not excited. When South Africa decided to put a bid to host the World Cup, Nigeria gave her full support, on the understanding that when it comes again to Africa, Nigeria should be in a place to host. But then, given our economic makeup, given our leadership deficits, the quality of leadership we have, given, of course, the way we maintain our infrastructure, we hosted the Under-20 World Cup in 1995 when Ebola struck. We were supposed to host the Under-20 World Cup. It was given to Qatar. Then, many people didn't know there was a country known as Qatar. I was here in Qatar in 1995. They had only Sheraton Hotel, one hotel. They didn't even have an airport that could match even some of the local airports we had. But today, what do we have of Qatar? They hosted that World Cup with 3 months' notice, the Under-20.
All right,
and now they are hosting the World Cup. And with what they have on ground, they can host anything. So Nigeria, if we get our economy right, we have the right kind of leadership, we can do it.
Leadership.
We can do it. And I know that we can do it.
All right.
But I don't know whether it will be in my time. I don't know whether it will be in my time.
All right.
I'm still very young.
Absolutely.
Right. Many thanks for that insight. I just feel that you're talking from both of your mouths now, knowing that earlier you mentioned that we don't have the right team to actually even make up for what is going on at the moment at Qatar, but that is just by the way. On a soft note, and this will be the last question before we put an end to this segment, I would like your take on the issue that happened with Raheem Stanley, having to suddenly leave national duty for family responsibility because of the attack on his family in London. Seeing that, researching on that, and actually, looking at his reaction. Should national duty come first or family concerns? Is, one question I would like to hear from a veteran like you, because there are, all kinds of emotions out there, and I know that they've been paired up against France, and the defending champions are the ones that everybody are looking at right now. But what's your thought on his decision and his role against the French team at the quarterfinals?
It's sometimes you have to look at the personalities involved. What is the makeup of their thinking? How do they react to such situations? How do they take it? And what is even those surrounding him? What do they get to say to him? And how does he arrive at such decisions? Some of these individuals have a whole team looking at their reputation management, looking at the way they conduct themselves. So at the end of the day, it comes down to the individual. And England-France is a very big game. Indeed, you are talking about the defending World Cup champions taking up the runners-up in Europe when it comes to the Nations Cup. And England, they've always been saying the cup will come home. I don't know where home is, because even in Wembley, Rome, the cup went to Rome from Wembley. They didn't get home. So they reached the semi-final last time. So I think the team itself should know how they want to manage that. I don't like talking about English matters, because it's divided among some of us in Nigeria who share wild nationalities, and some of them get excited. Like one Nigerian was telling me that, see how Africa lost, and I was looking at him. He was as black as I am, and I asked myself, oh, what country do you come from? He says he's from UK. You can always get such kind of reaction. But it's not new. Look at the Cameroonian who scored a goal against Cameroon, and
his house was destroyed.
The reaction. He didn't celebrate the goal. He didn't say. Of course, he knew his father and mother are still in Cameroon. He didn't celebrate it. Even Kylian Mbappe for France, he can still trace his whole house in Cameroon. So different reactions, different kinds of. But that's what makes the game exciting. The controversies, the reactions, and as we say, let's hope that we'll be in the World Cup in the United States.
All right. Many thanks, Dr. Obi.
We made our mark.
Many thanks. Many thanks, Dr. Obi, for even agreeing to come on the live show today. It's been an interesting time with you on the platform. But, quickly, before we let you go, aside talking about football, what unites us together, I think some of the things that also unite us together is some of the things that affect you and I, economically, name it, So, the first trending story, we are moving on to a segment that we call trending story. These are stories that bind us as families. And the first trending story that caught our attention politically is that of Dele Alake, why Tinubu delegated question to him at the Chatham House. Let me come to you, Damilola, quickly before I get this reaction of our guests. What's your take thus far on it?
I think I don't. I align with the fact that when you're a leader, you must also know the type of followers you have. Your followers should not just be people who collect money from you or buy gods or mediocres who just hail you for nothing. They should be able to stand in your walkway, stand in your belief. They should understand what you also understand. At least I want to assume that people haven't said that he has an eye for picking a successor or a good person. He has a good eye for knowing leaders and all of that. It was a good fit that he even threw the question open to know the kind of people who are behind him and shouting or chanting on your mandate we shall stand. So that's it for me.
All right, many thanks for your submission. I think it's just a mixed reaction out there, but this is a funny news for me, but also an eye-opener has for us to understand the way our perspective leaders would like to approach certain things, especially when it comes to ways of leadership, when it comes to governance, and of course the affairs of the people. And honestly, I don't know how or who does that on an international platform. Let me start from there, because I want to handle this professionally as a leader. You know, we are in a world where social media has taken the center stage beyond Nigerians or beyond Nigeria to prove that you are on top of your game. And I feel that, you know, to rescue Nigeria with all that is going on right now when it comes to inflation, you know, trying to just, you know, in terms of ramification of all social issues right now, politically, economically, and all of that, I just feel that, you know, that wasn't the right step to take. You know, that's my personal opinion. But yeah, I know that there are quite a number of people who also look at it from the angle that, yeah, it is exhibiting teamwork. But I've, you know, teamwork in the sense that, you know, I spoke to, I chatted Fumiolotu, and Fumiolotu was of the opinion, who was, you know, she was privileged to actually even be on ground, you know, and she was of the opinion that, you know, 10 questions was asked, he answered 4, and he decided to delegate the remaining 6 to so to speak, I would like to use the word, but shadowed minister, because we always have things like that, you know, during campaign period, and I'm sure that most of these people will be the one that will fill his cabinet at the end of the day. So when I look at that angle, I say, okay, maybe not. You know, she also shared a video that said, okay, during Biden too also did something similar. So, you know, but we also need to understand that we have to tailor certain things to our culture, regardless of however we look at it. We are quick to copy the international organization, or, you know, and all of that. But I just feel that, you know, it's a mixed reaction. You know, Dede Alake is a Tinubu's surrogate, if you ask me. Yes, that's what to use. And I don't, you know, expect anything less than the defense he has put up there for his principal. You know, also looking at it from the angle of the other political side, where they like to throw jabs at each other. You know, Dino says that Tinubu is a question allocator or distributor, and that is what he has simply done thus far. You know, and the people are also, you know, deflating from the questions that are being asked, you know, when it comes to his presidency, Nigerians and the likes, you know, in terms of people who are going to be voting you into the corridor of power. So the person who wants to become president, according to Dino, is saying that cannot answer some of these questions, and he has refused to come to, you know, some of the news platform that we have in Nigeria, the likes of Arise News, you know, we have channels as well. So they are looking, so that's what I'm saying, there's a mixed reaction that some people are saying you are going to international body to actually align with them when it comes to certain things and all of that. But when it comes to your own front, you know,
he feels they want to make money.
This is absolutely another body of language that I think that I've gotten from all of this that has happened in Nigeria, and I feel that, you know, there are many more things that is going to happen as we actually move forward. But you do not, I just feel that right now it does not respect quite a number of people when it comes to that, because the UK people, so to speak, the British people, are not the people who are going to vote. So I just feel that we need to tread carefully. You know, this speaks volume on how our people actually look at things in terms of
how we're respected,
and the opinions and demands will be responded, how people will respond to us, you know, in terms of leadership mantle, and how we actually carry our people and respect our people. So I think that is a thing that we actually need to be, it's a sensitive thing that we actually have to always put, how would we be viewed, you know, perception on how Nigerians are going to be perceived globally. I think it's one thing that our leaders too also actually need to put into consideration. But sir, let me come to you quickly. What's your take on this trending? I'm sure you must have seen it.
Let me start by saying that the style is the man. What we are seeing is an archetype of what we may have to see if by any occasion we decide to make that choice. But again, I will advise that they also come to Nigeria and start delegating questions to individuals to answer when they are in Nigeria. They shouldn't do that when they're outside. Maybe that way we'll get to know better whether it's an intentional design to really show what they can give.
To show capacity.
What do they say? What do they say about bats? A bat is a bird. A bat has animal. A bat, so many different dimensions to a bat. So maybe this is a fresh dimension.
All right.
I don't want us to waste our time, because Nigeria, many people don't understand that leadership is influence. Leadership inspires. And that leadership in this country can turn around what we have been angling for. And if we don't get it right, the little things, if we don't do it right and don't get it right, this nation will never be exalted.
All right.
And I think what we saw in London in Chatham House was just a part of the charade we keep having over time. But then we are used to it.
All right, many thanks for your submission on the first trending. And the second trending quickly is the fact that another rally took place by PDP yesterday, and that caused a lot of traffic. I must tell you, commuting from mainland to island yesterday was another different ballgame entirely. But you know, Atiku is hitting Tinubu back during the PDP rally that took place yesterday, that it's a lie, federal government developed Lagos and not APC. Quickly, Damilola, in 1 minute, what's your take on this?
Well, I think it's just the time for us to sit back, relax, and enjoy a lot of jabs, knowing that these people truly behind back doors, they don't have chaos, they don't fight, they don't have issues. We are the ones who propagate their stories. We are the ones who do cut and join. We are the ones, especially the media these days, we tend to tilt towards a story that suits us or suits our perspective to gain traction for our numerous pages or for our numerous channels or platforms. But Atiku and Tinubu, Obi, Kwakwan, so it's just a rat race that we always see at this crucial period when election is very close. So it will happen now. It will happen in 4 years' time. It will happen in another 8 years' time. People will throw jabs at each other. But I would implore Nigerians not to take any of these things very seriously. Look at your candidates. Look at capacity, accountability, and some of the positive things that we are varying to change Nigeria. I think that's the only way forward. But whatever jabs, don't take politicians seriously.
All right.
For the benefit of your mental health.
Many thanks for that. You know, let me start by saying, picking referring to one of the comments that our guest made today, saying that doing it right, getting it right. And I think that I want to add by saying that, you know, your own conscience also goes further in terms of how you actually throw people under the bus. I think that with all what they've shared thus far, in my head, I'm thinking, what kind of a leader are we even putting in the corridor of power today? You know, I think this should be a non-trespassable line between politicking and fact. You know, let's give credit to whom it is due to. You know, I just feel that, you know, I would not like somebody to actually throw my work into the gutter. This doesn't take anything away from anybody, rather than it solidifies our unwavering, you know, disposition to the truth. So the fact that you are campaigning in Lagos doesn't even stop you from acknowledging the records and achievements, if you ask me, when it comes to what other leaders have put into place. But, you know, I just feel intelligence should also make us know that, you know, to convince people. Also, I'm referring to one of the statements that our guest also referred to today, when he says that leadership is influence and it's power. And I agree with him, because convincing the people, you know, is another influence. Should you be telling them all those kind of negativity? Is something that I ask myself in pain. If I was at the rally, I'll be wondering, what kind of a leader is this? Should he be telling us all of this for us to add more, or for him to be telling us the costing of achievement of APC administration and the likes and all of that? So again, moving to APC administration, you know, as far as I'm concerned, because I'm somebody who have worked in the corridor of power when Ambode was there, when Fashola was there, when, you know, these people have added value to my organization and to my self-development. And I will be fair on this platform. I feel that APC administration has achieved a lot in Lagos. Yes, I emphasize on that. You know, we may not agree that there is a lot that has been done here, but let's give them the credit with whom has been with what they've achieved thus far. I remember vividly, you know, former H.E. Ambode, you know, transformed Oshodi, redesigned, and, you know, the park, you know, Oshodi, you know, it also did a lot of pen cinema axes and the likes and all of that. He also revamped Ekpe. Forget the fact that it's from Ekpe, but the question is he added value to Ekpe. So thinking about what Fashola also did, Fashola also built the Lekki New Bridge, and Governor Sanwo-Olu today, you know, has finished all of that in terms of what he met on ground, which I feel that that's continuity regardless of whatever differences that they have, which is what is lacking today. One thing I also feel that, you know, Governor Sanwo-Olu have also done is the fact that when it comes to housing, you know, the housing and houses that he has been able to, the past administration have been able to promise the people, you know, Governor Sanwo-Olu have brought that into reality. You know, Tinubu also opened the state to investors after the likes of Jakonde, after the likes of retired Colonel Buba Marwa and all of that. So Tinubu, for me, as far as I'm concerned, is a power and developmental blueprint design that all these past administration and governors in Lagos State have actually followed. So regardless of our politicking, regardless of our issues with different personality or whoever that is in the corridor of power, I think that it's important for us to understand that an accomplished wealth, you know, which is one when it comes to us coming together in terms of our strength, is key for us to actually give it to who credit is due to. And also remember vividly that also one of the things I feel Tinubu also did is health. Yes, even though he doesn't use the health facility today, they are quick to rush abroad, but he actually put the blueprint down today when it comes to. However, I feel there is a legacy to reckon with as far as Lagos State is concerned. So I do not agree with Atiku right now with him throwing the landmark achievements of others under the bus. I don't think that is right. I don't think that's the right thing to do, you know. And I just want to use this opportunity to say that, you know, governance is a continuous project and development, and is a continuous process. And I like the fact that that has transpired with Sanwo-Olu's administration, which is what I emphasize on right now. So with all that is going on right now, let's not spoil the work of others because of selfish interests. I plead with all our leaders right now, and remember that the children that you are actually speaking to are looking at your character. Tomorrow they will emulate the same thing you are doing. Is that the continuous culture we want to put in place for our children? I believe not. You know, quickly, sir, let me come to you. What's your take on this in 1 minute?
Just one phrase. Let us light up Lagos. For all what you have said about legacy, attainments, achievements, if you compute the resources that have been put into what you are trying to paint as a measure of development, you'll be shocked to your marrows that we are still in our nappies. We've not gotten off the ground. Yes, you can see modicum of achievements here and there, but compared to the kind of resources at their disposal, compared to what they should do. Indeed, when you talk about a city of aquatic splendor, is that what you get? When you talk about excellence, a city of excellence, is that what you get? We should match our slogans with our acts. And I think that Lagos can be better. And Lagos needs to be better. And Lagos should be better. And I don't believe that we have even done 1/4 of what we are supposed to do. Given the picture of what I've seen, I've been to so many African countries, except perhaps 5 African countries I've not been to. I've been across the globe, and I tell you that Lagos can do better, and it needs to do better. But then you have to find the right kind of people to drive it.
All right, many thanks. Apologies, I have to interrupt your line of thought. So many thanks for all your submission thus far. Indeed, it has been an awesome show with you today as our resourceful guest, Dr. Mitchell. Many thanks again for all that you've shared, for your insight. And I hope that as you continue in Qatar, you can actually bring the soil, the side of where you Qatar are, back home for us. And I wish you the very best, and wisdom is also what I wish you. On this note, I think this is where we draw the curtains of the show. My name remains Kike Atanda-Owo. See you next time. Bye now.